On this Sunday after Thanksgiving, a holiday which is built up to mythology of the European settlers' relationships with the Native Americans who were already living here, so that it erases much of the history of genocide, and our weekly land acknowledgement takes on increased importance. We take some time with it. We take some time with it. Here each Sunday, we renew our commitment to remember.
In our commitment to be in right relationship with the descendants of this area's indigenous people, we place a small basket of black oak acorns on our altar each week.
We do this every Sunday to remind ourselves to pay attention, to learn, to remember that the effects of history continue to live on in people's lives and bodies, including our own. And why acorns? Because acorns were a vital source of sustenance for the Nisenan, and because the oak trees carry the effects of history in their bodies too.
In doing so, we acknowledge the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible after generations of erasure and exclusion from California's history.
Still here and understandably cautious about being seen, may we see what the Nisenan want us to see.
We understand we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the genocide of their people.
Beth Caro likes to point out that ceded is spelled Ceded, meaning never given up. It's important to know that the land was taken and that genocide is the accurate word.
As residents or visitors in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as the campaign to restore tribal sovereignty through federal recognition.
May we offer our support with respect and care, with commitment and hope, with humility and with love.
Thank you both. Good morning. It's beautiful to have these lovely autumn days, and it's great to see you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community of the Mountains. Yes, a very long name. I'm the Reverend Kevin Tars. I get to serve this congregation. Have you ever heard someone say, I have some good news and some bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? So what do you choose when someone asks you that kind of question? Do you choose the good news or the bad news? Ah, who are the good news folks? Who are the bad news folks? I tend to choose the good news so that I'm kind of pumped up for the bad news. Here's some good news. This morning, we're going to hear a story that invites us to maybe change the way we think about good news and bad news. A story that reminds us to honor the paths that our lives take, however twisty and turny those paths are. The story comes from the tradition of Chinese wisdom stories, tales that have been told for many generations in Chinese cultures, because inside their playful details, there's a nugget of truth that can be meaningful to all of us, which is why, even if we've heard the story before, it's worth telling and worth hearing again. So to help us get ready and to celebrate the story of our UU tradition, we light our chalice.
May we whisper, thank you, for all that is good in our lives. Thank you. May we shout, thank you, for the abundance of blessings. Thank you. May we feel, thank you, thank you, thank you, deep within our hearts and around us right now. May we be thankful down to our bones for this time together. May we take the time to feed each other, take care of each other, appreciate and trust each other, and say thank you. It is the only prayer we'll ever need. And for those of you listening at home on Zoom, I invite you to light your home chalice. So before we start our story, good news, bad news, I need your help because you're going to be the horses and the villagers in our story. It's easy. Okay, here's how you'll know what to say as the villagers. I have two signs. And when I hold up this one, please exclaim happily about what good news you've heard. And when I hold up this one, you're going to moan and lament the bad news that you've heard. Okay, let's practice. Are you ready? Let's hear some ooh, ah, yay. Excellent. You guys were born to play this part. All right, and when I hold up this one, let's hear some very convincing. Okay, so let's practice a little scenario. Tonight for dinner, you're gonna have nothing but ice cream. Oh, oops, I'm sorry. It turns out that there's a PSPS, a public safety power shutoff, and you don't have a generator. So actually, the ice cream is melted and there's nothing for dinner. Okay, you're very, very good at that. Now, there's another piece that you need to play, and that's the horses. All right, so I welcome you to make some neighing sounds, if that's what you. And then we can make horse clapping. What you do is you clap your hands, and then you clap each thigh like this. Okay, I think you're ready. And we're just going to warm up our voices with a song first in the spirit of our story. We're going to sing When the Spirit Says Do.
Spirit says do.
You know how to play your role, and we've warmed up our voices. Let's begin our story, Good News, Bad News. Once there was a farmer who owned a beautiful horse. She loved this horse and spent long hours caring for it. His name might have been Buddy, I don't know. In fact, the farmer's horse was widely admired. The people of her village, that's you, would often stop as they walked by to gaze upon it and comment on its beauty. One afternoon, the farmer rode her beloved horse in from the fields after a day of work. But she was tired, and on her way back to the house, she completely forgot to close the gate to the corral. That evening, as the moon rose up over the pasture and the farmer slept in her house, the beautiful and precious horse pushed open the gate, running away quickly toward the forest and into the far-reaching trees. There goes the horse. The next morning, as the sun rose, the farmer discovered the empty corral. Villagers walking past the corral also noticed that it was empty. Word that the beloved horse had escaped spread quickly among the farmer's neighbors. But the farmer just said,
Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell.
the villagers were certain that the horse would never return and that the farmer was just stubbornly not accepting her loss. Days passed until one afternoon, just at dusk, the farmer's horse emerged from the forest, trotting back toward the corral. And the neighbors were stunned to see that a herd of wild horses was following the farmer's horse. You hear them? Wow! All of the horses found their way into the corral and to the trough of food waiting there. This time, the farmer was sure to lock her gate. Word of this turn of events quickly spread among the villagers, and the farmer's neighbors came to celebrate. But the farmer said only,
Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell.
Ah. We'll continue this story in a moment. So far, our villagers have celebrated a happy situation and have offered sympathy for a sad one. In this way, they're similar to our community. In this congregation, we care deeply enough about each other that another person's sorrow becomes ours to mourn too. And someone else's joy is ours to celebrate as well. Our sharing of joys and sorrows is a way of healing and weaving our hearts together. That's why we try to take time to ask and really listen, to share and to take in all of our circles, our groups and teams whenever we get together, even when we're walking up to a Sunday morning service. And of course, when we have a chance to talk to someone and to listen to someone one-on-one, that's even better. It will help our new folks to know that here in the room on Sundays, anyone who wants to is invited to come take a stone from the table right here and to place it in the bowl of water. It's a quiet way to show that something is on our hearts, something is in our minds. And we'll help the new folks who are on Zoom to know that you have a chance to type into the chat something of what you carry in your heart, what's on your heart, what's in your mind. So whether we put a stone in the bowl or not, or type into the chat or not, whether we take this time to pray or to enter the silence at our own center, let us share this time together with open hearts and a gentle attention to each other, a loving care for each other, as Toby accompanies us with music for this particular time. If you wish, I invite you to come forward. If you wish, I invite you to type into the chat. I have placed a few stones for all the rest, which would likely be a pile of stones in the bowl. I invite you for just a moment to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and to feel, even at home, even on Zoom, and if you're in the room, feel the presence of the other people. Maybe there's a sound, maybe there's a scent, maybe you feel the warmth, maybe you sense something else. Whether the coming days bring us joy or sorrow or something in between, or joy and sorrow all wound up together, may the love that holds us, the deep peace of the world, and the deep peace and love of this community sustain us. So may it be.
When we paused in our story, the farmer's horse had just returned to the corral, bringing a herd of wild horses. The farmer enjoyed watching this new herd of horses in her corral. Her grown son enjoyed them even more. He had been watching them with admiration. One of the wild horses in particular, a beautiful horse that looked as if she could run as fast as the wind, fascinated him. He decided to try and tame the wild horse. It was a little skittish. He decided he was going to try and train her to run with him on her back. But that afternoon, as he tried to ride her, the horse threw the sun. He landed heavily on the ground, breaking his leg.
Ow!
As you can guess, the farmer had just one thing to say.
Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell.
The villagers were still clucking and tisk, tisk, tisking about the son's broken leg and how terrible this accident was, when from the distance, can you hear it? The thundering of more horse hooves could be heard. Entering the village. This time, it was not a herd of wild horses, but the emperor's troops riding down the valley, flags flapping in the air, swords gleaming in the sun.
We're looking for some able-bodied men. Join the emperor! Join the emperor! Save our country! All young men!
As the troops wound their way from farm to farm, they announced the news of a war in the far edges of the country. It was a large war effort, so every able-bodied young man in the country was being conscripted, forced to be in the army. When they reached the farmer's house, they found her injured son.
Well, he's not able-bodied. You know!
And they left him behind, excusing him from being conscripted because his leg was still healing. Even as they mourned the departure of their healthy sons, the neighbors came to celebrate with the farmer that her son was safe from being made a soldier. And how do you think the farmer responded?
Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. It's too soon to tell.
As you can imagine, this story of ours could go on and on and on, but we'll end it here on a happy note. Let's thank all the actors who helped bring this story to life. How wonderful, how terrible, how confusing. The stones we dropped in the water this morning, they show that our lives are always absorbing new joys and new sorrows. Our paths are continually shaped by good news and bad news, and we try to make sense of the new direction that we're given. The folk tale that we just heard has echoes of something else that we already know. Life takes strange turns. Life throws us curveballs. Life contains surprises that we never saw coming and aren't sure what to do with. Maybe you've learned that sometimes good news turns out not to be so good after all. And sometimes the things that we hope for and reach for don't bring us the happiness that we expect. I mean, we know that sometimes bad news is just plain bad news, an utter tragedy from which it's hard to heal. But once in a while, bad news can open the door for growth. Sometimes sorrows can lead us places we never could have imagined. How wonderful, how terrible, how confusing. Ever since human beings could formulate questions about the great mysterious, we've wondered, why do our paths take such sudden turns? And how do we respond? As Unitarian Universalists, we don't have fixed answers to questions about why our paths twist and turn. Do you believe that the spirit of life has planned your life journey? Do you believe that fate or karma has mapped out the direction of your life? Are we guided along our journey at all? Or is the road in front of us open in every direction, shaped by free will, or shaped by our privilege, or our lack of privilege? These questions form the mystery in which we move and breathe and dwell. For every person here, there may be a different answer, but we ask the questions freely and we embrace them as part of the journey. In the paths our lives have taken, there is both pain and glory in the not knowing. When seen up close, our small steps may lead nowhere but confusion. It's not until we step back that we see through the gift of time or perspective, the topography or the shape of our journeys. Our UU tradition invites us to observe that larger journey with compassion and to make meaning from it. We challenge ourselves to believe in the goodness of life, the importance of justice, and the power of hope. And we believe that every sudden swerve into mystery is made gentler by having a beloved community. We don't have to do it alone. As the paths of our lives continue to unfold, may we be good companions to one another, and may our journeys bring us meaning and hope.
Take my hand, take my hand. Ooh,
I invite you to think back for a moment on the paths that your life has taken. I invite you to consider the surprises and the curveballs of your life, whether it is good news that turned sour or bad news that opened a door. Along the path of your life, which surprises can you look back on full of gratitude this Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend? You probably found a footprint on your chair when you came in. If you need one, you don't have one, please take one from an empty chair near you or raise your hand and the greeters will bring you one. Anybody missing a footprint? So take a moment to reflect and then write down that unexpected step that you're grateful for. For those on Zoom, please share in the chat. If you need a pencil, please raise your hand and the greeters will bring those around. So after the service, we'll post these footprints around the church. Our footprints will bear witness to the paths that lie behind us, and they may serve as a message of hope to others as each of us continues to find our way through life's surprises. So take a moment now to write a bit about a moment when your path changed. So thank you for sharing these footprints, these truths from your life with this community. We have opportunities to share much of ourselves here, our life's wisdom, our time, our talents. As we collect this morning's offering, please put your footprint in the basket as an affirmation of your place among us and your offering to help continue to build pathways for those here and those not yet here to find meaning. All this month, 25% of what is collected in the baskets and 100% of what is collected in the envelopes will go towards supporting our community partner this month, that is Bright Futures for Youth, a nonprofit that's committed to addressing the ever-changing needs of youth in Nevada County. Their focus is on health and wellness, healthy relationships, goal setting, self-awareness, self-sufficiency, and community connectedness. Please see the slide and listen for additional ways to give as the ushers receive the offering and the footprints.
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579 0483. Give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me.
Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate this morning's offerings to the constant that is change and to our sense of community connectedness that helps sustain us on the winding paths we trod. So many thank yous for all the people that go into making a service like this. Thank you to Renee and Nora, and to Toby Thomas Rose at the piano, to our inevitable amazing team in the back, Steve and Paul and Bob, who make all the electronics work and are here at the crack of dawn, as far as I can tell. They're always here when I get here on a Sunday morning. To Shanti for the beautiful setting, and to George for behind the scenes work, and to Lori and Jean and Laura, who were greeting this morning, to Shannon and Lori and Magdalene and Connie for refreshments. Please join us after the service in the room at the back for coffee and refreshments and conversation. And thank you to the choir for helping sing this morning, indeed. And to Joe and Shannon, who are upstairs with our young people. A few announcements. Holiday gift collecting is happening this Sunday and next. Next is the last one to bring in your gifts for youth. Check out the new art show. Jenny and Carmen's art is happening in the library, the room just behind this one, and the walking group has a new time. necessitated by the more dark as we move into this time of year. Tuesday will be the last time at 8. Okay, thank you. And then, as always, please visit our website to learn more about our Sunday services and all of the events and all of the richness that is happening here at UUCM. You can go to uugrassvalley.org. So just as the farmer discovered and just as your footprints bear witness, more surprise turns await us on this life's path. Our closing song reminds us that to have faith that we'll get there and that we'll do it together. Please join in singing Woyoya.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya,
Oh, we don't know, do we? I want to thank those who brave entering a new space that you've never been in before. On a Sunday morning welcome, we're glad you're here. For those who want to find out a little bit more, we have a new chance to learn more starting on Tuesday evening, See Me. And no matter whether this is the one and only time, the first or the last, or something very much in between, in the coming days and weeks and years, there will be times when the path before us is clear. There will be times when the path before us is so foggy that our next step will feel very scary and uncertain. When the way is clear, may we offer hope and strength to others. And when the path is uncertain, may there be an outstretched hand to hold ours. This is something we remember each week as we carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. So may it be, and we'll see you next Sunday where we welcome our very newest members. See you then.